They came from all over New England to compete for one goal. Hundreds of men and women chasing a dream. The chance to win a trip to Las Vegas and play against the world's best poker players on the world's biggest stage. Now the remaining players will fight for this opportunity of a lifetime to represent the Eastern Poker Tour in the World Series of Poker's main event. Welcome back to the Eastern Poker Tour Tournament of Champions. For Andy Kaplan, I'm Bernard Lee. We are down to our final 3 players. All of them fairly even stacked. Who is going to come out on top? Well, Brian has been our chip leader for most of the final table, but he has taken a couple of hits. Can he recover?
Brian? Andre's my man. The big A. Andre the Giant.
Well, he made the final table in Season 2, and now he's trying to do better than that. And of course, there's John, the original chip leader, heading into the final table. Can his aggression lead out and lead him to the ultimate poker tournament, the World Series of Poker's main event? All these players have had a great time. The Eastern Poker Tour allows them to have this experience. Let's hear their thoughts about this tour.
I play for the Central Mass region of EPT.
I started coming to EPT last October of 2008, and ever since I've just met some really good people, had some great fun playing cards. It's really gotten me into the mix of playing professional cards.
There needs to be more leagues like this.
For EBT to offer a seat like this, it just shows how much they like to give back to the players, and it just proves why they're the best league around.
It's really the only way that amateur players could ever realize their dream.
I think the EBT provides a fun atmosphere to enjoy poker.
I've actually benefited a lot personally because I actually went through a divorce and turned to EPT to actually build up a bit of a social network. It's been fabulous to be able to get out and just meet a whole bunch of people.
Well, as we resume the action, the blinds are still at 60,000 and 120,000. Andre on the button decides to fold. Andre has made a nice comeback here. John with Queen 9 suited in the small blind decides to raise.
Raise it up.
A look of disgust by Brian once again.
120 on top. 120 on top.
I think Brian's getting a little tired of John raising.
John is only min raised here. I think Brian has looked down at a hand enough for him to make the call in position.
I think at this point, Brian, with any 2 cards, is going to call John. He doesn't believe him.
Well, very, very questionable call with 7-4 offsuit. 9-3-6 rainbow.
And there it is, Bernie, the world record of all-ins at one final table. He just hit it.
Well, John did hit top pair. He decides to push. We have to be very, very careful here to be pushing 2 big stacks and pushing into the other big stack, because when you push into that other big stack, really, if they call, even if you have only top pair, if they call, you could be in big, big trouble. So let's see if this potential situation could happen again later. This could end someone's tournament real quickly. Well, John takes down a nice pot, and Brian, sitting in the small blind, decides to make the call with, again, Queen 9 offsuit. Andre decides to check his option and has just a little bit of a weaker hand, Queen 8. Ironically, Queen 7 is the average hand when you play heads up. So both of these have a hand just slightly better. We have a 5-3 jack flop. Andre's going to take a little peek. I think he's probably looking to see if he has a heart just in case. They both check the flop, and the turn comes the ace of clubs. Now, this card probably won't help either player.
I think Andre is just taking the staring, smiling game to a whole nother level.
Hopefully, he can stare down this last river card, and guess what?
And the blink of the eye.
He gets the 8 of clubs.
170.
170 to win.
Well, Brian's now going to try to steal this pot right now. And I don't think this is going to be enough. Well, Andre's already pulling out his chips. And look at Brian. Brian flips his head over, realizing, oops, made a mistake. Andre hit the 3-outer on the river to take a nice-sized pot.
Now, I talked to Brian after the match, and he said this hand made him feel like a little schoolgirl.
Well, Brian has taken a couple of hits back-to-back against both of his opponents. Let's see if he can right the ship here. Blinds are 60,000 and 120,000.
Raise.
Raise it up.
And he makes a raise with queen deuce suited. I like the raise. The hand, not so much, obviously, but the raise is solid. We need aggression as it's coming down, so I like the raise to 300, about 2.5 times the big blind.
Folds.
Call.
Andre folds from the small blind, but John quickly calls with ace-9 offsuit. Brian does not look happy. Now, the one advantage that Brian will have throughout this hand is he will be in position of John, able to see what John will do first. Flop's an interesting flop. 2, 4, 3 rainbow. Brian has flopped bottom pair, and John has flopped basically a gut shot straight with the 5. However, John now has hit top pair, top kicker. Checks again. Brian's going to come firing out here. 200,000. A little bit lower of a bet than what he previously did, which is potentially showing to John, maybe John's worried here that he's trying to trap him. He's been minish kind of raising when he has a big hand. He's kind of minish betting here. Is he trying to trap him? 8 of clubs on the river. Now John has this hand 1, top pair, top kicker. Only can win, only can lose if Brian bets him off the hand. I'd be very surprised if John doesn't bet here. Well, John does check. I think he suspects something from Brian. And Brian's going to continue his aggressive play by betting 400,000. He gets John off of the hand. A very, very interesting play. Brian has turned the tables on John. John being the aggressor throughout the whole final table. But Brian has utilized the tricks that John has done, wins a very, very significant pot here late in the tournament. Blinds are 60,000 and 120,000.
Call.
Well, John decides to call from the small blind with Jack 4 offsuit.
He's an absolute calling machine, Bernard.
What's interesting is that we're seeing a lot of hands because of these calls. A little bit more aggression by some of these players, and these hands probably end pre-flop. With a 7-7-8 board, John the thinker is going through the motion. Is he going to bet 250? I like the bet. I think Brian's going to have to fold this. He may have 2 overs, but he doesn't really have much, and that's what he will do. John is showing his aggression. Maybe a little bit disappointed that he had to fold top pair, top kicker on the last hand.
I think what Brian has to do there in the big blind, he has to think that his king 10 is a far ahead of John's range, so he needs to put the pressure back on John.
Absolutely. Aggression is the name of the game when we are down this deep in any tournament. When we come back, let's see who turns up the heat when we come back here on the Eastern Poker Tour Tournament of Champions.
Visit EasternPokerTour.com to see how you can be at the next final table.
We've been playing now 2 days, and it's late on the second day, so we've been here 12 hours yesterday and another 10 hours today, so it's starting to wear on us pretty good. I don't think the time is affecting me too much. I'm tired. I think everybody's tired, but we're all excited now. The heart's racing. It's the final table. It's now's the big show.
Well, Andre summarized it well. It is tiring when you play this many hours for the ultimate prize of the World Series of Poker's main event seat. Andre's done this before. He finished 3rd in Season 2, and he's trying to better that finish this season, whereas Brian and John have never been here, but listen, they're that close from getting that first prize. Blinds have gone up now to 80,000 and 160,000. Action's going to start on Brian on the button, and he's going to lay it down. You can see Andre's chip stack there, much healthier than it was previously. He's going to call there with King 2 suited.
Again, the calling.
And this is what we've said all along from the beginning. Aggression would have taken a lot of these pots down right up front. The one person that I will say that you would have to worry about is John, because John calls very, very often. Well, the flop has come down 10-9-8. Andre's going to check over to John.
$200.
Andre's giving a very, very interesting smirk and staring at John and folds the hand. Let's see if that's something that's somewhat of a pattern as we move forward.
Yeah, the other thing is John looked back at his cards again. A lot of times when he does that, he has nothing, and then he always raises. So Andre's got to stop picking up on that.
As we move forward in the action, Andre seems very, very comfortable as compared to the other two players. I think that experience of being there before helps. Well, Andre's folded from the button, and I think he's very content on letting these other two players battle it out, whereas John will raise 250 more with pocket sevens.
I call.
Brian's going to call again, King 10. This time it's suited. It's fairly even. It's about a coin flip right here, and we'll see who is going to potentially take this down. 3 of diamonds, 9 of clubs, 2 of diamonds. John's going to should feel pretty confident about that flop.
I'm all in.
John's got a stranglehold on the Guinness Book of World Records for all in. He is just adding to his total.
I like this all in. You don't want to see overcards come on the board. And the only card pretty much that Brian that he's worried about is that 9. Of course, if he hit a set of deuces or set of 3s, you don't want him going after that flush draw. I like the aggression that John played right there. Well, John's taking another pot down using his aggression. He's been playing poker for about 4 years, and he qualified from the Moose Cabin in Attleboro, Massachusetts. He is a full-time National Guard, and he is definitely going to try to protect his chips as we continue moving forward to the final 3. John decides to fold from the button, and now Brian, our VP of Operations, is going to call with 7-6 suited. Unfortunately, again, more calling. Andre is going to check his option with 9-7 suited, and this is a very, very interesting flop. Right now, Brian has flopped a gut shot straight flush draw. Andre has flopped top pair and a gut shot straight as well. And Brian is firing out 250.
It's a real sick hand, Bernard. I don't know how they get away from this hand, the two of them.
Yeah. You can see Andre with that sickened look and also no longer staring at the person and being all jovial. He's serious now, and we know this is going to happen.
Out Brian saying, please laugh, Andre. Please laugh. But he's not laughing, he's raising.
Andre, an IT manager whose hobbies are golf and scuba, has been also playing a very long time, 10 years in fact. He has now raised 440 more.
I ain't getting you off the hand, but I'm all in.
Brian basically goading Andre into the call.
And Andre quickly calls.
3.
Well, Andre now has made the call.
I didn't finish, but
Brian kiddingly last said he didn't finish.
445.
Well, Brian, the most experienced player left at this table with 20 years of poker, qualifying at the Brickyard Pub, is potentially all in for his tournament right now.
If the spade doesn't hit, I hope you hit the 8.
You know, Brian talked him into that call, but I don't think he wanted to talk him into that call. It was almost like he got nervous during the hand.
Yep. Well, 9 hits. Andre's got 3
Spade
9s, but still,
or an 8.
Brian is looking for an 8 or a spade to save his tournament. And unfortunately, the one-time chip leader is now heading for the exit. Well, with the elimination of Brian in 3rd place, we are now heading to heads-up play.
It's like a WWE match, the Mad Russian against Andre the Giant.
Yeah, absolutely. These two giants are going to battle it out for the ultimate prize, the World Series of Poker main event seat, when we come back here on the Eastern Poker Tour's Tournament of Champions.
Visit EasternPokerTour.com to see how you can be at the next final table.
Well, welcome back to the Eastern Poker Tour Tournament of Champions. With the elimination of Brian, we are now down to heads-up play. Andre, our Season 2 final tableist, versus John, the chip leader originally when this table started, and now they are heads-up. What are we expecting from these two players?
Well, because John doesn't know exactly what he's going to do. He's going to call, he's going to raise, he's going to shove. I don't know. I think it's keeping Andre off balance big time.
Well, Andre, our original final tableist from Season 2, has now bested that performance. He is not going to settle right now. He wants this win. Before we get down to the table, let's see what the chip counts are. Andre has hid in the weeds this whole final table. Now can he take this 3-2 chip lead across the finish line? Well, we are now heads up, and what we talked about before, aggression and position, two very, very important things in heads up. Right now, Andre, who qualified at pins in Milford, is on the button and has decided to call with a very marginal hand, 6-3 suited.
Now, will Andre's patience really pay dividends against the Mad Russian? I mean, is that going to come into big play here?
And in reverse, is John going to really step on the pedal and increase the aggression to put a lot of pressure on Andre? We're really going to have to see. Well, 2 hearts come on the flop with the king of clubs. It's a nice flop for Andre, all things considered. And with John checking and being passive, Andre's going to fire out probably a bet here, which he should, and he looks like he will.
I mean, I'm John. I'm moving all in. I'm shoving, baby. He quickly folds and shoves the chips at Andre. Take your stinking chips. It's not just for breakfast anymore.
John's just hoping that Andre is borrowing the chips just for a second. Andre is on the button and is looking down at Jack 4 suited.
And a raise.
Raise.
200.
Well, John is utilizing the aggression that we know and love. He's got King Jack offsuit. Andre's going to make a call here. It's kind of a minish raise with blinds at 80 and 160. He only raised 200,000 more. Well, now he's very happy that Andre came along for the ride as he's flopped 3 kings.
Tricky.
He is playing very tricky as he's checked the flop. Andre should have taken a little bit of a note there because you usually are going to make a continuation bet. Andre bets 200 and John calls. Well, I don't know about you, but I think the hand is over. This is what dreams are made of at the final table, to get quad kings, but he wants to get paid off here. John's not going to check here. He's going to bet. It's a question of how much he's going to bet.
All in.
Well, there's our answer. He just bet all in. I actually think this is not a bad play. If Andre had a pair, or maybe even caught a 5 on the river, he might have made this call.
Yeah, I think it's a great shove, but the show is
But that's
not
a
as good.
bad show. He shouldn't have shown what he had. Played the hand great, but unfortunately didn't get paid off as much as he could have. John takes down a very, very nice pot, and they're almost even in chips right now. Well, a nice hand for John. Andre's going to have to gather his composure after losing significant chips on that hand.
Oh, man.
John is on the button. Blinds are 80,000 and 160,000.
Bernard, a big sigh there. That either is a very big hand or a very bad hand.
Or maybe a marginal hand.
Or a marginal hand.
Well,
like I always say, Bernard, I'm only right 5% of the time.
well, John has ace-5 suited. Andre has 6-3 offsuit. Well, John has hit this once again, and this time he's going to lead out. A very interesting play where previously he didn't. Now he'll lead out. John's picked up a little bit of momentum here, and we'll see if that's going to carry over and, who knows, maybe overtake Andre.
Yeah, but Andre's patience, I think, is really what's got him this far, and I think it probably would take him all the way if he can trap John in the right spot.
Blinds are 80,000 and 160,000. Andre is going to complete the bet from the big blind. Queen 4 offsuit.
Good.
Looks like John's going to take a little bit of a different take here. Very, very tricky in the sense he's got pocket kings. Well, the flop has now come down 10, Jack 10. A very, very interesting flop.
You notice that John's looking back at his cards as well, really disguising the strength of his hand.
He's bet 200,000. Now, this is a little surprising.
Well, he told me, Andre said he wasn't going to look at this hand. He was just going to play it blind.
He's playing it blind, without a question. Not really much of a question of why he's playing it, but wait a second. Now a queen hits. This could get Andre into a lot of trouble right now. Let's see how John plays this out. Well, he's going to bet 200. Andre's just folded his hand. I'm a little confused now.
You didn't like that?
No, I'm a little confused. I mean, did he really believe that John had a 10 or maybe an overpair? It's a fantastic fold, obviously, but a very, very confusing scenario of why Andre called the flop, hits the turn, and then lets it go. But
Yeah, I mean, I would think if their chairs were closer together, John kicked him under the table, but I don't think he can reach.
well, blinds are 80,000, 116,000. We are deep into heads-up play. They have a good amount of play. They're probably both about 20, 25 times the big blind. So at least there is some play. This isn't just a all-in shove fest.
Yeah, no reason to get crazy here. I mean, you could play small ball and wait to see a flop, and I think that's what John's doing right here.
Well, Andre raises with ace-3. Any ace and heads-up is fine. John is thinking about making the call, and I think he has with 9-8 suited. Andre obviously has position for the rest of the hand. Let's see what will happen.
This is an acceptable call in Russia. The United States, questionable call.
All in.
And John has pushed all in. I think what we talked about earlier in the sense of pushing all in.
That was an easy call.
Here it is. Here we go.
Like I said, Bernard, that was an easy call.
Well, Andre knows it. He's going to need either an ace or he's going to need a spade, or else he's going to be crippled. Well, that's it.
That'll do it.
Andre has taken this title down by outdrawing John. Third place second year, our third season. Andre betters that finish by taking it down, and Andre is going to be taking home a World Series of Poker main event. See, congratulations to Andre Pereira, third place finisher in season 2, but now betters that performance by winning season 3 here on the Eastern Poker Tour Tournament of Champions. Let's take a look back on Andre's performance here in season 3.
Second time's the charm. My friends and family will probably point and laugh if they see me on TV. And hopefully most of them will come and cheer me on when I'm in Vegas.
Well, congratulations to Andre Pereira for winning Season 3's Eastern Poker Tour's Tournament of Champions. He was third place in Season 2, and I know that was disappointing to him. Not this season. This season, he finished it and crossed it over the finish line for first place, and now a seat in the World Series of Poker's main event.
Let's not forget John Jennings, JJ, the Mad Russian, put a great effort forward. Came in the final 2 out of over 300 players.
Yeah, absolutely. Great aggression, but unfortunately, it didn't pay off in the end. But we are so pleased to be bringing you the Eastern Poker Tour. We hope you enjoyed it. For Andy Kaplan, I'm Bernard Lee. Next time, we hope to see you at the final table of the Eastern Poker Tour's Tournament of Champions.
Visit EasternPokerTour.com to see how you can be at the next final table. Brought to you by Foxwoods Resort Casino, home of the WPT World Poker Room and Foxwoods World Poker Finals.